Evelyn sends us a message. She says, I've been with my husband for almost 7 years now. I've gone through a lot of physical, emotional, and financial torture from him. I've tried my very best to be humble as a wife, as the Bible describes, to the extent that my family thinks I behave like I'm the only one who's married to a good man. I'm always ready to support him in every way I can. As it stands now, I'm the breadwinner of our home. I feed and clothe myself and our 2 kids. I also do same for his 2 sisters that stay with us. But that has never been an issue. In my heart, I think I've forgiven him, but of late, anytime I remember the assault and all the trauma I went through at his hands, I burst into tears. Anytime I try telling him what I'm going through, he either laughs over it, gets angry, or walks away. I want to put it all behind me and move on with my life. Sisters, how do I do this? I need your help. All right. Claudia, should I come to you with this one first? What do you think?
Leave him.
Hey.
With immediate effect. Move on. You see, I don't know why. I understand that she wants ideas, but she's already identified all the red flags in the marriage by herself. So one, there's no affection. There's a man who is not empathetic. He doesn't even understand the pain you're going through. He laughs it off. So to him, it's not even a problem. And he's still there because he gives nothing. You've been given. You are still unhappy, and you still want someone to tell you to move. She's already identified all the issues, which are red flags. So now she has to put herself first. Women need to start putting themselves first. Women need to find themselves before they go into union with men. It's like every time they get into a union, and I think it's our socialization, how we've been brought up, is a natural response. We just take over. You are told, make the home peaceful so that the man will always come back. So even when 2 adults are together, the woman naturally feels the burden of making the marriage work. And that's why she's gone all out to make it work. But it's still not working. It's all good when you have a good man and you are going all out. But this guy has proven himself time and again that he's not worth that effort. So why do you want to be there? It's not meeting any of your life goals. So what exactly is keeping her in the marriage? Is it societal expectations? Is it a fear that she can't live by herself? Is it that she hasn't opened up to good company and a strong circle? I really want to understand what incentives are keeping her in the marriage. Or maybe if we understand if there's something hidden, then we can advise in that direction. But based on the information that she's given us, she should move on. There's so much out there outside marriage. She might actually meet someone who deserves the efforts that she's putting in.
Right.
She should move on. It's not serving her.
She has said that she wants to move on. Her question to us, or reason why she wrote the show, is she wants to know how to go about it, the best way to do it.
Simple. Serve the divorce papers. There are legal procedures for doing this. I feel she's just looking for reasons not to move. And I understand that because she's invested into it. It's not easy walking away from something that you spend so much of your time, your resources on. But this is someone who has proven not to understand you. So now you move beyond the negotiation process. Just get a lawyer and resort to the legal procedure. Don't give him the chance to use his emotions to manipulate you to stay.
Right.
Bring in a third person, get a lawyer to adjudicate it from now on. Don't make it personal anymore because he has mastered the art of keeping you around. And he will resort to all that tactics to keep you around. So bring in a third person, make it legal, step aside, let the lawyers discuss. It's that simple.
Okay. Sabi, let me come to you and see if you have maybe a varying view. What do you think?
You know, it's so funny. And since I've been doing the show, I'm really coming to realize a lot of things about us as women. And I'm I'm feeling more and more that men are really having the time of their flippin' lives, man. You know, and there's this narrative that we as women have a fear of commitment, or we're rejecting marriage, right? And we're not rejecting marriage. But I'll tell you that a lot of single women, and it's when we hear these stories, we're rejecting what marriage has come to represent. It's the thought of losing our independence and our freedom. It's the thought of being complicit, submissive, and quiet. It's accepting that we need to compromise because as the wife, it's our duty. That is not marriage. We need to take the time to establish our roles as individuals and then partners within the marriage, right? I'm not hearing any of that here. I'm not hearing any of that. That's the first part. The second part, yo, my darling, this guy has gaslighted you like I've never seen. Hey, man, you are being gaslighted. You know what gaslighting is? When you question your sanity, your ngondo. This guy has gaslighted you. You are seeing yourself through his eyes. Because literally in this past 7 years, he's been redefining your reality. And nothing you say or do makes a difference at this point. I want you to consider a few things. And these are some of the signs of what gaslighting is. You no longer feel like the person you used to be. You are more anxious and you are less confident. You often wonder if you're being too sensitive. And that would be an example of what you just said. You said you cry, you go to him, he either laughs it off or he gets angry. That in turn brings up more anxiety because then your mind goes, no, man, this is my husband. Surely he loves me. And if he loved me, he wouldn't laugh at it. He would feel for me, right? Gaslighting. Do you find yourself apologizing a lot? Are you feeling isolated from your friends and your family? If you're saying that you're crying, if you're saying that things are coming up, the assumption that's coming to my mind is that you have had to go through the abuse or healing from the abuse by yourself. There's been no therapy. You haven't spoken about it with this guy. You've worked on it on yourself, and you've told yourself that, no, you know what? I must be a humble wife. This is what's expected of me. Let me work through it. Let me tell you now, lady, you haven't worked through shit. You haven't worked through shit. And the reason it's bubbling up is because you haven't worked through it. And you are in need of love and care. Why are you the breadwinner? Why are you looking after two grown women? Well, if I was married and I'm living with my family and my husband is more, I'm fine with my husband looking after my family in regards to buy groceries and that stuff. But we're not going to be buying clothes and stuff for grown people. Unless you say to me that person is paralyzed, is unable to find work, but that's not the sense that I'm getting here, right? There needs to be change in the situation. And change is about interrupting the habits and the patterns that no longer serve you. None of what you're going through serves you. In order for you to alter your life, you have to change your dysfunctional habits and replace them with healthy ones. Find the strength. This has only been 7 years. Please don't make it 30. Whatever decision you make is a decision you make. I'm just laying things out for you. This is not okay.
It's not okay. Indeed. Rosina, let's bring it home.
See, this thing called marriage and how it's viewed in the religious religious class
circles,
or
maybe.
circles. That verse about women being submissive and being humble and the interpretation of the word submissive, and it's very funny how they ignore the earlier verse that says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. So, and love is a very strong word. That's why, for me, when you open your mouth and you tell me you love me, I take it very seriously. And I don't just go around telling people I love them if I really don't love you. Because love is a very strong word. So, when you love somebody, in there, probably lies submission. You understand? Now, the only reason why they say wives submit, it means that okay, whatever you discuss and everything, you submit to the authority of the man, but it doesn't mean that you lose yourself in the process. And for some reason, the church has managed to manipulate this thing to make women feel that, okay, whatever your husband says, you just have to do. That is a sign of submission.
Obey before complain.
Obey before complain. Just do, just do, just do. And there's this paradox where there are men who are monsters in the house, and then on the outside, they are like, you know, Christ himself. You understand? So everybody is talking to you about, oh, what a fantastic man you have. And it happens both ways. It's just because it's a, what's it called? The sender is a lady. You know, what a fantastic man you have. Oh, the last time he did this, the last time he did that. He's such an amazing man. And yet he comes home and he's an absent husband. He's an absent father. He's not a companion. You don't even know how to talk to him. You don't even know how to go around him. So all these things are happening a lot. So what happens is that, and you don't want to leave the man because the man used to assault her. And probably now the man has stopped. So now if you go for a divorce, you are wondering, what am I going to put on the divorce papers? When they were beating you, crying, you didn't go. Now that he has stopped beating you, you say you are going. Why are you going? Number two, yes, when you tell him how you feel, oh, he only laughs because he doesn't want to. But you are saying it too much. And this thing happened how many years ago? 5 years ago. You are saying it too much. So why are you complaining? Then, you know, so that is what is keeping her trapped inside. It's the fear of what others are going to say, the fear of what the church is going to think, because I believe she's religious because of where she put it. The fear of what the church is going to think, the fear of the fact that she's going to be deemed a failure for leaving her marriage when she wasn't ready to leave. Okay, fantastic. Now you want to go. Now you want a valid reason to go. How do you go about it? And funny enough, especially in Africa, divorce is very funny. Elsewhere, if you say we can't live together, you discuss 1, 2 lawyers meet, they communicate, and that's it. We are over. Over here, whilst you want to divorce, your family members are saying that we'll work it out. You go to the court says that once you are still living in the same house, it means you guys can actually work it out. You need to be separated for a while first before we know that. Pardon?
Is it 2 years they're separated or so?
Yeah, and you need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the two of you cannot cohabit before you. But you see, and that's where I have a problem with the system. And it's so expensive to regain your mental stability. So you are going through so much and you want a divorce. You need a very good lawyer. You need to pay good money to be able to regain your mental stability. So the whole system is messed up. So because of that, it makes it very difficult for women or men who are in situations like this to just get up and say, I'm going to the courts to get a divorce because this is what is happening. And the thing about mental illnesses or mental depression or whatever it is, sometimes it's only you are the only person who feels it. And like Sabi said, I think that she worked on it alone. She didn't work on it with a psychologist or any professional. And I'm sure working on it alone is just trying to, I'm Christian. Bible says forgive as we forgive. So forgive him. Let it go. It's happened. Let it go. And for her, that was the way of dealing with it. And years down the line, it comes back to bite you. You see, so I think that, look, you want to leave, yes, and leaving isn't going to be easy, especially if you're in Ghana. It's not going to be easy. You need to battle your friends. You need to battle your parents, extended family. Even those ones can be easier to deal with at the church. Oh, sister, so and so, why you are backsliding? And the Bible says, God hates divorce, God hates divorce, God hates divorce. But you see, there are so many other things that this Bible says that the men don't listen to. See, men traditionally are supposed to be the providers of the home. And women are supposed to be the carers of the home. Today, Ghana, how many married women are working? Plenty. How many married women are providing for the home? Plenty. How many married women are caring for their children even without thinking of even asking their husband? Look, if a bulb goes off in my house, am I going to call my husband and say, oh, this bulb went off, I need money to fix it? No, I'm just going to dip it to my pocket because I'm at home at the time, so I'll fix it. So women are doing these things. So why is it that men are looking for women who are working, who can contribute to the home, and yet they can't handle a woman who would want to stand for her opinions. I don't get it.
Right.
You can't win-win on all sides and women lose on all sides. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
So I think that now that you want to leave, it's good you want to leave, but I need even stronger mental energy to leave, because you're going to face all kinds of setbacks. But once you know and you're convinced that this is not for you and you want to leave, I beg, leave now. But start it off with counseling, because you haven't dealt with what you dealt with initially. Maybe if you dealt with it properly, you'll probably have the sense of wanting to stay in your marriage, because you would have dealt with it, you would have involved him, you would have explained to him the kind of damage he is doing to you. He would have come to a point of appreciation of the extent to which you've been damaged. You understand? And then maybe it will work itself out. But because you didn't go through a proper route, you just decided to put it on the back burner and pretend you're okay with it, and years down the line you realize you're not okay with it, you're realizing that the kind of energies it's bringing out is just so off. So I think that you need to see a psychologist first to be sure that it's something you want to get out of.
Right.
And when you want to get out, I beg you need a lot of energy to get out of it. But if it's something you want to get out of, please don't let anybody prevent you from getting out of it.
Now, I mean, listening to all you ladies speak, I'm also thinking about this. I don't think that this man really loves her. You know, I don't think so at all. For starters, I don't know for how long she's been the breadwinner for, but I just find it very strange that if indeed she's the one that's holding the family up at the moment, the man still does what he does to her. And from where I sit, doesn't seem to want to take charge and be the man. Because for men, it's a very big deal being able to care for your family. You know, yes, you may be going through a rough patch, but for a lot of men, once they get back on their feet, or they're in a hurry to find solutions to reverse that. But it's like she's the one taking care of the home now, taking care of not only your 2 kids, your sisters. And yet there's barely any kind of respect or appreciation for her. You know, and for me that's very that's very off, you know. I don't know if I'd be able to stay in a relationship like that, you know, because I would want some kind of appreciation for being able to even step up. You just forget everything else. But the fact that I'm not even getting that acknowledgement is a problem. And to the extent that you're abusing me financially, emotionally, physically, it's totally not going to be worth my time or effort. You know, how do you go about it? I think the sisters have said it all. There are different options, many, but just be ready for it, because it's definitely not going to be an easy journey. Plus, the children will come into play depending on their age. Who's going to be keeping the kids? That's a whole emotional battle on its own.